Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have another ScanNCut versus Handcut. This is the ScanNCut version and this is the Handcut. As you can see, I've only decorated the Handcut version and I've left this one blank so that I can decorate that at a later date. I will leave in the description box below the timestamps for both the Handcut version and the Canvas Workspace tutorial, which you will learn how to create the cutting file for this double stepper card. If you don't have a ScanNCut, then this is the project for you, Handcut version, or you might just be a lover of all things Handcut, even if you do have a ScanNCut. But in either case, if you want to learn how to make this double stepper card as either a cutting file or a Handcut version, then stick with me and I'll show you how. These are the pieces for the stepper card. I've got my main base, which measures 10 by 7. And then I have the various mats for the steppers, and these are one that measures 3 3/4 by 3 7/8. Need two that are 2 by 1 3/4. Need another two that are 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. And if you want to decorate the inside as well, then you'll need two that are cut at 3 1/8 by 1 7/8. You also need a strip to go along the front, and that is 6, just write this down, that is 6 3/4 by 3/4. For a message, if you're going to use these inner mats, then you would need a piece that is cut at 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. Or if not, if you just want to use a message that goes the length of this, then you would cut it at 6 5/8 by 3 inches. So let's do the scoring first. Place it in the scoreboard along the 10-inch side. The first thing I need to do, though, is to draw myself a line. So I'll do that before I put that in the scoreboard. I need a 1-inch guideline, and this is just a guideline that we'll rub out later. Okay, and it just needs to be a very light pencil mark, so I'll just use my mat to guide me, and I'll just draw a pencil mark there that I can see when I put this into the scoreboard. I mark here on the short side. So I'll put this back down, measure in 2 inches. Pull that up. Two inches just there, and then I need 2 inches on the other side as well. Right, so there is the grid that I'll be working in. Now, back to the scoreboard, and the first score line is going to be at 1 inch, but it's only going to go down to that 2-inch mark here that we made. So place your stylus in there, come down and stop at that 2-inch mark. Then just skip along, just You could leave it in the track, just not press down till you get to the other side, and then continue on to make your 1 inch score mark. Next is 1.5 inches. So at 1.5 inches, we'll do the same, just down to that 2-inch line. Just come along and continue on down. Then you'll need to go to the 3.25 inch mark. Again, down to the 2 inch. Follow it along, and then that's when you can press in. Do that again. There we go. Next is 4 3/8. So 4 3/8. So that's 1, 2, 3. One 3/8. And then finally 6 5/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. Down to the 2 score line, or score mark I should say, and then again. Right. So that's what you have so far. Now you need a score line that goes at the middle, which is 5 inches, and it's going to go between these 2-inch marks. So we're just going to kind of hover over that, and then when we get to the pencil line, we'll go down till we get to that 2-inch mark. We have the cutting to do. The cutting needs to be between the 1-inch score mark and the 6 5/8 inch score mark. Alright. And for that, I'm just going to use a craft knife. You could, of course, use a trimmer. I've got my craft knife here. And this has a steel edge on it. So I want to come along that pencil line there and cut from here down to that 1-inch mark. There. So we have that. We're going to do the same on this side. So starting there at that 6 5/8 and come right down to the 1-inch mark. Have that. That's the cutting. I can go back and rub out those pencil marks. Okay. Then we can start the folding. So first fold is going to be a mountain fold, right? That's going to be our mountain fold. Then we're going to have a valley fold. So the 1 inch is a mountain, the 1.5 is a valley. You just push this up out of the way, because that's our score line there. Then we're going to repeat that with another mountain, and another valley. So 1 inch is a mountain, the 1 1/2 is a valley, the 3 1/4 is a mountain, and the 4 3/8 is a valley, and then that means that the final one, which is the 6 5/8, is a mountain. So it will now fold down like that. That will fit into a 5 by 7 envelope. And there is our double stepper. Now, we have our mats. We have this piece, which I said is the 6 3/4 by 3/4, which is going to go along the bottom here. Now this card, as you can see, is cracking just a bit because it is a white core, but I can always go back over with some ink on that later and help disguise that, or a pen, and that will help to disguise that. I can place my first strip along the bottom there. Then I have these two pieces. Right, I have one that is the 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. Just going to go here. So if you're using a directional paper, be sure that you've cut it so that the pattern is in the right orientation. Doesn't matter with this one. And then I have this one, which is the 2 by 1 3/4. That is going to go onto the back piece. If you wanted to add another layer on top of that, of course you could do that. Just cut it slightly smaller than the one before it, or under it. And then we have our central piece, which is this piece. This is the 2 3/4 by 3 7/8. Or if you wanted to instead cut a topper out to that size and place that there instead of this, you could do that. I've got another piece that I'm going to be placing over top of this. So that's going to go like that. And then I'll repeat my mats just like I did on there. Inside, where the message is going, I'm going to have these pieces like that, and then have my message on this piece of white card that's going to go there. Now, if you didn't want to do that, if you wanted to just leave these off, then that's when you would cut your 6 5/8 by 3 inches, and it would span this bottom piece here. These again are 3 1/8 by 1 7/8. Ready to add any decoration. I've got this piece here, which I think I'm just going to put on with some foam squares. So, Just add that right to the middle there. And then I have a couple of pieces here. There are so many beautiful reasons to be happy. I think I'll put it on the back here and then throw kindness around like confetti. I'm going to leave that fairly simple, just like that. Then when you open it up, you can write your message in here. You could even decorate more inside of here as well. That is your double zipper card. Right, I'm going to start by bringing in a little sketch that I've made to help me with this layout. It's not to scale, but as you can see, it's a 7 by 10 inch card, and it's going to be scored at 5 inches, and then it's going to have these stepper scores on either side, and they are the exact same size on either side of these, and each of these is 2 inches in length. So let me just move this out of the way for now. I'm going to start by bringing in a square, and I'll resize that square to 10 inches by 7 inches. I'll give it some color as well. I want to use the XY axis because that is a precise way that I can put in my score lines. So I'm going to place this at 0. And I'm going to lock it as well, so that when I put my score lines on, this is going to stay stationary. So we'll go back to here. First score line, as I said, these are going to be 2 inches, so I'm going to my first score line, and I'll go over here to 2 inches. And the next one I need is going to be at 1.5, just that there. So I need to duplicate this, and I'll place that at 1.5 and at 0. Needs to be at 1. There we are, 1 and then 1.5. Then we need another at 3.25, so duplicate that. That is going to be 3.25. And 0. We'll duplicate this. And this is going to be, bring that a little more in, that's going to be at 4 3/8. So I want to duplicate this, put it at 4.375, which is 3/8. And then last one I need is at 6 5/8. So that is going to be 6.625 and 0. Okay, so those are the score lines we need. 1, 1.5, 3 1/4, 4 and 3/8, and 4 and 6 and 5/8. Then, I'm just going to zoom in here. Need to have all of these as score lines. So I'm going to highlight them, turn them into a dash pattern. 1, 2, 3 down, the one I want. And now I need a cutting line that is going to go from the 1 inch all the way down to the 6 and 5/8. So just use my path tool to draw that in. Let's see. So we want that it's coming a bit closer. That should be like that. Okay, and now this has to be replicated onto the other side. So what I'm going to do is highlight all of those and duplicate them, or group them as well. And then I'm going to move them down to the other side, which means on the X it will be 1, and on the Y it should be 5. And then we have it on this side. However, remember this cutting line has to be in that direction. So to do that, simply flip it over and we have that in the right place. Now the last thing we need is a score line that is going to be down the middle of the card. So I need my path tool again, and it's going to go from one cutting line to the next. So I'm just going to draw it from here down to here. So let's do that. Let's go here. There. Should be about 3 inches. Right, and then I'm going to make sure that's a dash line as well, and then place it at 5 inches. So let's bring that out. We compare it to our sketch here. Just bring that to the front. We should have a 1 inch, a 1.5, a 3 1/4, 4 and 3/8, and 6 and 5/8, and that is exactly what we have. That is all the scoring and cut lines that we need for this double stepper card. I'll just delete that. Don't need that anymore. I'll go back over to the layers and unlock this. But now we can highlight the entire card and group it and bring it inside of this red cutting area here. Now the other thing I need to do is to create the mats for this. Now if you want, you can of course hand cut these mats, but I'm going to give you those as well if you want to use your ScanNCut to cut those out. You will need for the center, which is of course this area here, you're going to need one piece that is cut to 2 3/4 by 3 7/8. So that's 2 3/4 wide, 2.75, and 3 7/8, which would be 3.875. So that's your center mat. Then the next one that you need, let's just duplicate this. You'll need 2 of these, and these are 2 by 1 3/4. 2 by 1 3/4. 1 7/5. You need 2 of those. You can either put them on here, or you can just wait till you get to your machine and then duplicate them there. I'll just go ahead and do it here. Then you need 2 more pieces that are 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. So let's duplicate this. One 3/4 by 1 1/2. So 1.5. And duplicate that. And then you're going to need a strip for the bottom, which is going to go along this area here. And that is going to be 3/4 of an inch in width, 0.75 by 6 3/4. So 6.75. Let's just turn that round. So 6.75 by 0.75. There we are. Now, to write a message, which is going to be placed in this area here, you're going to need a piece that is 6 5/8 by 3. You should do it. So 6 5/8. So that would be 6.625 by 3. And that will be for your message. I'm just going to mark that for the inside. Now there, you could, if you like, also add a mat on these inside pieces here. So I'll give you the measurements for that. If you want to do that instead of just having the message, then you could have a piece that is, let's duplicate these, two pieces that measure 1 7/8 by 3 1/8. So 1 7/8, so 1.875 and 3 1/8, so 3.125. So those would go, as I said, in here, except of course it would be like this. Alright, so we'd need 2 of those, and for your message then you would have a piece that measures 4 3/4 by 2 3/4, so 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then that would go in this area here, like that. And that's all you need. So we've got all the pieces that we need if we want to do the mat and card itself. So all we need to do now is to send this over to the machine so that we can cut it out and put it together. So I'm going to do that now. First of all, I need to be sure that all this is inside that cutting area. And I'll just quickly check to see. And all objects, yes, everything is inside. So we should be able to send that now to the machine. And there it is. So I will meet you over at the craft desk. I have my pieces all cut out now, and I'm ready to fold and burnish the stepper itself. So I have this 1-inch fold line here, and that first one is going to be a mountain fold. So this is going to come up through the middle like that. And the next score line, which is at 1 1/2, I'm going to fold that in as a valley fold. That's going to go inward like that. So this is what we have so far. And the next one is going to be a mountain fold, and that is here at that 3 1/4. I believe that was, yes, 3 1/4. So that's another mountain fold. The next is going to be a valley, and that is the 4 3/8. And then we have this last one, which is the 6 5/8. Right. And we have our 5-inch score line. Just going to fold back like that. Go over with my bone folder. Press down. So see now it stands like that. You see it from the back. Then I have my mats here. Just going to go into the center. These will go the smaller ones will go on these pieces on the front here. I think that's right. Yes, that goes there. This one will go here, and we'll have this piece that goes across the bottom, and then I have the pieces for the inside that I'm going to also mat. So let's get these down. I've decorated that on the inside there so that when the recipient opens it up to read the message, it's just as pretty on the inside as it is on the outside. Now if you don't want to do that, then you could just take the larger piece for the message, which is the 6 5/8 by 3 inches, and then just place it here along this bottom half here. So there is the stepper card, now ready for the final decoration. What you could do is perhaps make yourself a batch of these double stepper cards so that they would be ready to decorate at any time. You could make them out of white cardstock, or colored cardstock, or even pattern cardstock. It's all up to you. Of course, you could turn this into just a side stepper card without this central part here, by extending your score lines and having this bit here off to one side, either to the left or to the right, and then your steppers would just be longer in length. So instead of having 2 inches, you might have 3.5 or 4 inches, and then a small side piece for your topper there. Bring in the hand cut one we did. I've just left this one undecorated because we've already, of course, decorated this, and I can leave that for another time. Thank you so much for joining me today in this ScanNCut versus Handcut, and I think you'll agree that they both are very, very nice indeed. Thank you once again for joining me. And if you're enjoying these comparison videos between ScanNCut and Handcut, please let me know in the comment section below. We do appreciate all of you who have subscribed to my channel, and if you aren't already subscribed, please consider doing so today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll share it with your friends. Until we meet again, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.